Hello everyone, welcome to Talking with Dr. Laz, your favorite health program on television, reaching you from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. My name is Dr. Laz Eze. Yes, today on the program, we will have conversation on an important topic of public health importance, something that affects our everyday life. We'll be talking about road safety. Yes, road safety is an everyday issue because on daily basis we moved on the roads, whether it's within the city, whether it's on the highways, everywhere we move. And Nigeria occupies an unenviable position in terms of the performance on road safety issues. So why are we performing so poorly when it comes to the global indices, while road safety is one of the highest killers of people in our country? Are there things we are supposed to be doing that we are not doing? Are there things that we should do better than we are currently doing? And who are the stakeholders that should take these actions? Of course, what is the role of citizens, that we have to play in all this? So this is what we'll be talking about. And I have an expert in this area, a young man that have done a lot for almost a decade, championing road safety, working with different stakeholders. And also in the course of the conversation, we are going to bring in a perspective from planning. How does urban planning, affect the security or the safety on our roads? So do stay with us. We'll be right back. Do follow us on our social media handles, right, displayed on your screen, and get to watch as many of our previous episodes as possible. See you after this break. Welcome back to Talking with Dr. Laz, your favorite health program on television, reaching you from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. Yes, with me in the studio is Mr. Simon Patrick Obi, who is the Executive Director of Greenlight Initiative and also a Youth Leadership Board member of the Global Youth Coalition for Road Safety, representing the African region. Mr. Obi is also the Program Coordinator for the Alumni Association of the United States Government International Visitors Program. You're welcome to Talking Health with me.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Laz, for having me on this occasion.
Yes, thank you so much. So around September in 2021, I hosted the FCT Sector Commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps. He was on this program, and we talked about various issues on road safety. We used Abuja, Nigeria's capital city, as an example. Issues around pedestrian bridges, also designs that doesn't quite accommodate persons with disabilities, and a whole lot of issues. And of course, he made certain interventions on what needs to be done, what they are doing, and all that. So you've worked over the years on a number of committees, the Federal Road Safety, as well as Federal Ministry of Health, and all of that. Could you describe in very clear terms the issues you found? I know when we start going to the number, perhaps you can provide certain background on the numbers. Then what are those key issues that we need to address?
Absolutely. Thank you so very much, Dr. Laz, for first of all making this an issue of discussion on national TV. We cannot begin this conversation without letting our viewers know that the road transportation sector, the Nigeria economy over 90% of it rely on road transportation, sector. So what it means is that the health sector, what it means is that the education sector, the agricultural sector rely on this sector for it to thrive. But what are we seeing? We're seeing a sector that is underinvested. And I would begin by also putting that over 1.35 million people are killed on the world road every year. Nigeria as a country has one of the worst traffic situations in the world, with an estimated record of 39,000 deaths every year.
Wow.
This is a pandemic. And to
39,000
deaths every year, according to the annual Global Status Report on Road Safety. You know, and to make this issue worse, this is not an issue that is widely talked about in conversations. You know, so that's the problem. You know, and to also bring out the statistics to further showcase some of these statistics, road crashes are the leading killer of young people who are between the ages of 5 to 29 years of age.
Yeah, very correct.
And you know that our population is a youthful population, with over 60% of our population being youth. So, I mean, when we leave this sector, it will continue to kill our young people who are the future of Nigeria.
Okay, so talking about, it's such a gloomy situation, and what are the key things that, that is making this happening? Looking about it from the root cause analysis, what are those key things that caused Nigeria to be performing so badly in the area of road safety?
It starts with urbanization. What we know as experts is that as country begins to grow in population, their road safety data or their road safety crisis continue to grow. So you have poor, that's where it starts. So we live in a country whereby we are growing in population, but it's not commensurate to the infrastructural development that would enhance safety on the Nigerian road. That's
so
where
in other words, our population is growing faster than our infrastructural development.
Absolutely.
But of course, it's a known fact that even when you come to the economist aspect, our population is growing faster than the economy. So which is consistent with the remarks you just made.
Yeah, but again, I mean, we are, as a people, ought to know that this sector is an important sector. And because we are growing in population, there should be more investment in this sector. Because
every sector is asking for more investment, right?
Yes, there are.
And when you say this sector, are you describing road safety as a standalone sector? Because from the way it looks, it's cross-cutting.
Yes.
There is a health aspect of it. There is the works aspect of it. There are different aspects of road safety. So which sector specifically are you talking about?
The road transportation sector.
Okay.
And it starts from, urban planning, investing in infrastructure. It also
you're
towards
just
health.
saying urban. Does it mean that those in the rural communities, don't they use roads? Or are their roads also safe?
Yes, I mean, you can also, leave them out of the equation. We're also saying that while we are developing the urban city, we should also extend that aspect of development to the rural areas, because human beings are there. But also one thing you should also note is that the rural sector or community are not motorized as the ones we have in urban sector. So they are not highly motorized. So the roads in the rural regions have fewer vehicles on their road. So the rate of crashes are not much compared to the urban city. And that's why investment should be focused more on the urban city, where, we have a lot of vehicles in numbers, and then people are moving from one point to the other. But again, Dr. Laz, before we move to the next aspect of the discussion, it is important to note that the road safety is not just a development issue. It is also a health crisis.
That's why you're on this program.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there is a World Bank report that tries to bring together all of this into perspective and look at what are the challenges, what are the costs. Over 7% of country GDP is estimated to be lost in issues of road safety crisis.
Okay,
so
there's a point you made about vehicles. Are you looking at vehicles just cars? Because in the rural communities, they have motorcycles, and there's even more likelihood of sustaining severe injuries or death in road crashes involving motorcycles or even bicycles, and perhaps the other vehicles.
Yes.
So we have to
Yes.
leave no one behind
Absolutely,
in this conversation.
absolutely.
That all road users, including those on bicycles, motorcycle, pedestrians, who could be just taking the walk and something, one vehicle goes to hit them, whether it's bicycle, motorcycle, as the case may be.
Yes.
But I wouldn't want us to dwell so
Okay.
much on the problem. We understand this is a problem. We understand we are not doing well, So the next is, how do we do well? Flipping through the road safety website, I saw this National Road Safety Strategic Plan, 2021 to 2030. So there's also a plan that was before this period, which is also consistent with the global plan. Everything now is the road to 2030.
Yes, the
So
UN Decade of Action Plan.
can you give us a synopsis of what that plan seeks to achieve?
Well, there is one unique thing that is about the plan, and that is, stakeholders' involvement. That plan acknowledges that everyone is a stakeholder in the issues of road safety.
Okay.
And that further corroborates with what, as experts, we often say, that road safety is everybody's responsibility.
Yeah.
So that plan acknowledges the role of governors,
Okay.
the role of community people, the role of every individual that uses the road.
Okay, so let's now go specifically into those roles. Right now, I, as a citizen, let's start from citizens' responsibility, right? So what are my responsibilities as a citizen, whether I own a car or not, towards road safety?
Well, your responsibility is to be road safety conscious. And being road safety conscious entails that you adhere strictly to the rules that governs the road.
Okay, what are those rules?
One of the rules is you need to slow down, you need to obey the traffic laws, that is the speed limit.
Am I speeding when I'm walking with my legs as a pedestrian?
Yes, that's for motorists. And then as a pedestrian, you use the walkways when
they are available.
When they are available.
Good.
And then when they are not available, you are expected to be cautious.
Okay.
You are expected to also go the opposite while you're walking within the road. You
go opposite the direction of vehicles.
Of traffic.
So, which means if you're walking, you walk in such a way that vehicles will be coming from your front.
Absolutely.
So that if you see anyone that is moving abnormally, you have to, dodge it.
Yes,
like
and
that.
then most importantly, there is need to avoid walking on the express. The express is built for vehicles alone.
Only, yeah.
And so pedestrians have not, reason whatsoever to try to cross the road within the express.
Like they do routinely in Abuja.
Not just in Abuja, in our country.
In our country,
Yeah.
every part of
So
the
for
country.
me, it is suicidal to do that.
Yes, but what if, like, Apple Bridge, there's a bus stop there, here in FCT, right? And there's no pedestrian crossing. What do people do?
Well, there is a bridge there.
At Apple Bridge?
Yes, there is a bridge, but not pedestrian bridge.
Okay.
So you can either use the bridge, or you can either watch. If you notice at that bridge, traffic tends to, in terms of speeding, vehicles slow down at that bridge. And that because we have roadside, illegally, But
I'll just use that as an example.
Yes.
That some places, we have places where there are pedestrian bridges where citizens ignore them and then don't use them. We also have places where there should be those bridges and they are not available. And we have places where those bridges are available, but they can't be used by persons living with disability.
Absolutely.
So a whole lot of this thing, but we are going to continue this conversation after this break. I've been talking with Simon Patrick Obi on road safety in Nigeria. It's actually an issue of public health importance. Anything that's leading to injuries, leading to deaths, is something we must find ways to avoid. We'll be back after this break. Do stay with us. Welcome back to Talking with Dr. Laz, your favorite health program on television. Yes, we'll be having conversation on road safety, and I have Simon Patrick Obi, Executive Director of Greenlight Initiative, and also a new guest joining us on this segment, also a young man. He is a student at the University of Nigeria, Enugu campus, studying urban and regional planning. He's a final year student. Because this issue affecting mostly young people, so those I'm having this discussion with are also quite young. You're welcome to the program, Mr. Emmanuel Anthony.
Thank you for having me here, Dr. Laz.
Okay. All right. So I'll come back to you, Mr. Patrick. We know we started talking about responsibilities of various stakeholders, and we've talked about that of the individual, that's talking about the road users. Can you quickly talk about other users as well as service providers who have critical roles to play?
Thank you so very much, Dr. Laz. We mentioned that it's a tripartite kind of solution. We've talked about the road user, and now we're also delving into the service provider.
Yes.
So when we say service provider, we mean those who are responsible for transportation. We also mean those who are responsible for vehicles in different sectors. So it starts from having good vehicles that are of good standard. Most of the
that are roadworthy.
That are roadworthy. Most of the vehicles that come into Nigeria are less than 3-star vehicle, which is the global measure for measuring the standards of cars. So it starts with.
So how do they get in? We have Standards Organization of Nigeria.
That is the problem. So we have the standard, the SON. There. So they need to work closely with the custom or every other agency to ensure that Nigeria has quality vehicles that are of good standard, and vehicles that are roadworthy and safety worthy. Not just roadworthy, but also safety worthy, because that is important.
Okay.
So we also have the road management body like the FRSC, the VIO, the consumer protection.
Part of the service providers?
Absolutely, they have a role, a huge role to play. So they need to ensure that the laws are enforced, the right thing is done on the road. They also need to ensure that public enlightenment is put out there for the masses. And then the consumer.
Are we doing enough of that public?
We are not doing enough of that.
Okay.
We are doing poorly on that.
What do we need to do better? Public enlightenment.
We need to ensure that road safety is included in education system, because it is an important area. And then we also need to increase public enlightenment on TV, on radio, social media. We just have to increase that. And
what about communities?
We also need to do community engagement. The road safety have started something like that, but it hasn't started. So we encourage them to intensify effort to ensure that that community approach is important, because that's where it starts.
All right, I'll come back to you. We'll talk about the role of spare parts, vehicles, mechanics, and a lot of other persons. But when you were talking, you mentioned planning. So, and Mr. Emmanuel Anthony is an IT student, right?
Yeah.
In urban and regional planning. So, what are your thoughts on this? From what young people are most victims of deaths arising from road traffic injuries. And of course, persons perhaps in your age group. So what are the solutions now coming from that urban and regional planning perspective?
From urban and regional planning perspective, as a young man, crossing the road is very difficult. Yes, because pedestrian routes are poorly managed. And naturally, we're only supposed to cross at zebra crossings and pedestrian bridges, which provision in Nigeria currently is below 20%. We tend to cross everywhere, anywhere we find suitable. So I'm going to use a case study of France, Newtown, to solve this problem. They implemented the concept of complete traffic segregation. Where every route, every road user has their own lane to go through. There was the pedestrian way, there was a cyclist lane, there was a motorway. All on the road. So everybody uses the road at once without the need of crossing into each other's lane. I think implementation of that would actually...
Do you think that will work here in Nigeria?
Yes, very feasible.
Well, apart from the design, the behavioral aspect is even something else. You see very slow-moving vehicles right on the speed lane, and you that want to overtake, that is supposed to overtake from the left, you are constrained either to be moving with slow motion on the express, or, so there are just a whole lot of issues, but perhaps education could solve that. So very quickly, we have very few minutes to round up. What are the other things we need to do better, especially in the area of service providers, and before we go to the government?
Well, so in the area of service provider, the Consumer Protection Council also need to ensure that when we go to the mechanic to fix our vehicle, that we get the required service and not further damaging our vehicle. So they need to step up their game.
How do they do that?
I mean, in their policy approach, in their work approach, I'm not in the best position to tell them what they are supposed to do.
In my hometown, I'm not aware if people know about the Federal Competitive and Consumer Protection Council, or Commission. So at the sub-national level, what are the things various stakeholders need to do? At the state level, do we need to set up similar agencies of government, even at the local level? Because these things really have to be at those very basic levels.
Yes, at all levels, whether local, subnational, we need to have that organized body in place, ensuring that citizens, achieve the best of services from these people. Because the role of government is to provide security. I mean, that's the basic thing. So the security has to stand tall in every of your approach. So at every level, we should have, bodies to checkmate all of these services that users are entitled for.
Okay. So talking about enlightenment and all of that, let me say, as student groups and all of that, do you see a role for perhaps your student association played even within the campus or within the communities or to the government where you're located? Do you see any role that you guys could play in that area in terms of drawing attention to some of these gaps that have to do with urban planning?
Yeah, we have unions in the school. Yeah, okay, sorry. Yes, there are roles that students could play, like enlightenment, discussion, organization of inter-school programs, inclusion in educational body, the study of road use and road safety, because it's not enough to actually put up these rules, but ensuring that, the next generation come up with the mindset of abiding to those rules, seeing those rules as normals, not just coming to the road wherever they want and look left and look right to cross.
Okay.
And
you
Dr.
have
yes.
to add to that.
You see,
right?
Emmanuel is speaking, my mind. He's pointing out the areas that are very key in all of this discussion. It starts with educating the mindset, reorientating the populace. And we can only do that if we include this in our education sector. We've acknowledged that it's an important area, so we need to include it. Once we include it, then we'll begin to see changes in our society.
Yes.
The records will start dropping. But again, we also need to start leading by example. Those who we have entrusted with opportunity to lead us need to also lead by example. In this nation, we see governors, ministers, councillors, VIP, moving with saris.
And chasing every other person out of the road.
Yes, and going against the red light, moving at a high speed. What do you expect the ordinary citizen to do?
It may be argued that they're in a hurry to attend to some issues of urgent state importance.
It is not an excuse, Dr. Laz. They have the luxury of time to move ahead of time. Because at the end of the day, you will need to set a good example for the people to follow through. If you don't do that, then what you get is a chaos society.
Okay, so it's been a very robust conversation. Time is never enough to talk about all the issues, but to end this, what are some tips, road safety tips, that you have to anybody that have watched this program up to this point? What are those road safety tips you have to give?
First is that the government should increase investment in road safety. I would always say that. And then the second is that we should take the road safety vaccine, and that means slow down.
slow down is relative. Slowing from 170 to 130 is still slowing down. So what's the speed limit in Nigeria?
In build-up areas, the laws say go within the speed of 40 to 50 kilometers per hour. But I'm saying that the global standard is 30 kilometers per hour.
What's build-up areas?
Build-up area are places where we have streets, where we have schools, where we have market area, where traffic is huge.
Yes, you want to come in there. What's another tip?
Yeah, a build-up area, like he was saying, yes, is an area with high intense residential activity, where people actually are very present. That's what you define as a built-up area.
Okay.
Yeah, and one of the solutions, one of the tips for crossing roads is, one, always cross at the end of the road, at the terminal. Never cross in between traffic.
Okay.
It's highly suicidal.
So that's the show for today. I really want to thank Simon Patrick Obi, Executive Director of Greenlight Initiative. Thanks for being on the program.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And also Mr. Emmanuel Anthony,
Thank you.
Urban and Regional Planning final year students. I know your colleagues at UNN will be cheering up. So thanks for joining you on the program. I hope that you do take more actions through your associations when you get back.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
All right. Thanks for being on the program.
Thank you very much.
And to you, our viewers, thank you for watching. My name is Dr. Laz Eze. See you same station, same time next week. Bye for now.